You're listening to Evolving Moons Podcast with Jess and Katie.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Evolving Moons.
Yay. Jess and Katie here. Again.
Today, we are going to be talking about toxic positivity.
Yeah. And why it's bad.
Why it's bad.
Why it's toxic.
LOL.
LOL. First, can I just mention this tea that I'm drinking right now?
Okay, sure. Go for
Okay,
it.
I've just been on this kick recently. It's peach tea.
Okay.
Nothing special. It's called country peach.
Mhm.
And I put honey and oat milk in it, like the oat milk creamer that I
Okay.
use. And it's amazing. I don't know
Okay.
why it's so good, but I just wanted to share that if anybody wants to try it. I love the oat milk creamer that I get from Natural Bliss. And yeah, it's just been so good. It makes me really happy. So I just wanted to share that.
That's really nice.
Also, the honey that's in it is from a little place in Mount Angel, Oregon called Pacific Honeybee. Shout out Jennifer, who owns the store. My sister interned there, and it's honestly the best honey that I've ever had in my entire life. Local from Oregon, all over Oregon. And the honey that I like is called fireweed, and it really do be fire. So
Oh my gosh.
I'll tag them, honestly. She's cute. That her and her husband own this little honey shop, and that's their livelihood. And I think that he is a beekeeper or
That's
bee
really
farmer. So yeah. Anyways, they're super sweet and cute. They have a website, so buy honey from them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah, continuing toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Let's define it, I guess.
Yeah. So toxic positivity, broken down into simple terms, is this idea that, that we're being too positive all the time when we probably shouldn't be.
Right. It's the whole oh, everything will be okay.
Yeah,
Or look on the bright side of
fine. Yeah, it
things.
could
It'll
be
get
worse.
better.
Yeah.
But all the time, constantly.
Yeah.
In any type of situation. Oh, I just found out, my friend has cancer. It's oh yes, but she's not dead yet, oh, it's okay. Or oh, there's all these wildfires burning, and it's yeah, but it'll be fine. They'll go out eventually. It's this type of, it's more in the heightened situations, I think, the heavier situations where you really do truly need to feel that emotion.
Yeah, not just not just outside factors,
yeah.
but also the emotions that you're feeling
internally.
on the inside.
Yeah, hey, I don't feel great. People that are getting to the point of suicide or just deep into depression, if somebody tells them all the time oh, just try and be positive, try and look on the bright side of things. It's that is what toxic positivity is, I think, to us. And
yeah.
It's just that hyper positivity all the time and not acknowledgement of negative emotions, feelings, situations.
So our point today is basically that it's okay to sit with those negative emotions or feelings.
Yeah, I'd say more than okay. It's necessary. You have to be able, we've said this before, but you cannot feel good unless you also feel bad. You have to go through bad in life in order to appreciate and fully realize that there is super good and positive. So
yeah,
both are important.
I did a reading on it earlier, and going into it, I kind of had this question in mind. It's kind of hard to think of super specific questions sometimes, but I just had this oh, how can we sit with negative feelings, or what can we learn from these negative feelings, is kind of what I was thinking going into it. And I pulled the Five of Pentacles. I went with the tarot today. Been failing the tarot lately. I've been trying to practice the tarot more because I'm so comfortable with oracle decks.
Yeah.
That sometimes I feel
it's nice to switch it up.
Yeah, I like switching it up, but also tarot is just so much harder.
Yeah.
So it's I have to practice. But basically, the Five of Pentacles comes up when you have a lack mindset going on. So it's you are focusing on all of the things that you are lacking in your life. And it's kind of like a negative card, but it's also coming to remind you to focus on the things that you do have and be grateful for those and kind of shift your energy.
Okay, so I mean, it's more of that card kind of is what we want to be talking about. It is more negative. It's about
yeah. It's it comes up when you are being negative and you are trying to kind of fix it almost, but it's like a learning card basically. It's coming to show you that you have stuff to learn from and like that's okay and it's time to like start to shift your mindset kind of thing.
I like that. I feel like
Yeah.
that goes with our episode pretty
Yeah.
well.
I thought so too.
Nice.
It also can be specific to like your fortune.
Hmm.
But tarot really loves like focusing on the fortune, but
We'll have to get our fortunes read sometime.
no. I mean like the fortune in your life, like your money, your
Oh,
property,
oh.
like you're losing that in your life or
Mm,
something. But
that's
the
interesting.
yeah, so like a specific version of that card is what that means. But the
Huh.
overall is what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I have a quote that I want to share, and then we'll kind of talk about like more toxic positivity, like where you see it, why it's bad, and like really why you need to feel negative emotions.
Mhm.
So this quote is from the Huffington Post, and it says, there can be long term effects of toxic positivity, including encouraging a person to remain silent about their struggles. And that is by Heather Monroe. She's a social worker. So I think that that's really important to address. Like, talk positivity is obviously great, you know, like you want to uplift your friends, family members, whoever you have relationships with. You want to help them stay positive, help encourage them to do better, help encourage them to feel better. But it gets to a point, or it can get to a point where it's too much and you're
Mhm.
actually suppressing and disregarding their feelings.
Yeah, the most important thing is that it's okay to not feel okay.
Yes.
Is like a big saying that people say.
Yeah, well, and it really is like, one, you know, you're not expected to be okay all the time because
Mhm.
shitty things happen in life, and they happen like pretty regularly. I mean, it's not an
Mhm.
uncommon thing to have something happen to you that really deeply hurts you.
Mhm.
We're humans, we go through so much change, so much is like unstructured or uncertain in our lives. And so
Mhm.
to expect yourself or anybody else to be just okay and good all the time, it's impossible because you don't ever know what's coming your way,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a. I think it's important to highlight like the power that comes from being able to sit with all of your emotions, and I think with that is it's almost like a form of practicing mindfulness.
Yeah.
You're able to ask like, how am I feeling right now? Like once you're able to sit with all of those emotions, how am I feeling right now? Like how not like how am I feeling, but like how does it feel the way I'm feeling right now? It's like
Yeah.
you go even deeper with yourself almost.
Yeah. I feel like people that are able to do that know themselves a lot better.
Mhm.
You know, if you are a person, and toxic positivity, we've kind of talked about it, about somebody else like emitting that onto you, but it can be you
Mhm.
doing it to yourself too, like telling
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
all the time, like, oh, this is fine, like I shouldn't care about this, or I'm just gonna keep chugging, you know, like whatever.
Mhm.
But and I understand why people do that. You know, I think the toxic positivity comes from a good place. It comes from the place of you wanting to feel good and happy and better, and you don't want to feel those negative feelings or emotions.
Mhm.
But I think it's really important to be able to like deeply know yourself, and like you were saying, sit with those feelings, sit with those
Mhm.
emotions, and really address them. Because if you are just always telling yourself that you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're never actually really like deep diving into who you are. I mean, how do you
Yeah.
really know who you are if you're just always like up, 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 like I'm fine,
Mhm.
I'm throwing off like all these things that I should actually be addressing, I'm just putting them aside. Like,
Yeah, I also think that it like hinders your ability to fully heal
yeah.
when you
Well, yeah, I mean,
when
that's what
you
everybody
when you
tells
tell yourself
you.
like, "Oh, I'm fine," and everyone's like, "Oh, you're good." Like, I don't know, my most recent like going through the breakup, I went through like months of being like, "Oh, I'm fine," and like running around and playing, but it didn't hit me until like much later
Yeah.
where I like actually fully felt it all. And then once I allowed that to happen is when I like truly healed, I think,
Yeah.
and I was able to start coming more into my own again.
Well, you absolutely have to do that. Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
really do have to take that time to feel those sad or down feelings. And they can go really far down, you know. I think with hard things, like you can go too deep into that, and then you kind of like slip into a depressed state.
Yeah.
And then you do need those really strong, positive people around you, but
Hmm.
you definitely do have to go through the motions and feel that those feelings. Like, it's the same thing when people pass, you know, you really have to address and accept their death. And that's
Hmm.
hard. You really have to go through those grieving processes and stages. There's actually a book. when my grandma died that my mom read. I think it's called this 7 steps of death and dying, or the
Mm.
7 emotions, or whatever.
Mm. 7 stages
Seven stages.
of grief.
I
I
think
mean,
it was something
they
on
have that, but
death and dying. I don't know. It was
okay.
something along those lines of like all these different steps that you go through, and there's so many of them, and you really do have to hit them all. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are hard. A lot of them suck, and a lot of them I'm sure you just want to be like, oh, I should just be positive about this,
No,
or
I'm
like,
fine. It'll
I'll
be
just I'll get
okay.
over it,
Shit
or
happens.
yeah.
Yeah. Another huge thing, actually, that just came to my mind that I probably should have mentioned earlier is with this card that I pulled, the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, it's bringing up that you're going through a lack mindset and that it's time to change your thing. But another big thing from it is that it's also time to like start reaching out to people
Hmm.
when you need it. It's like time to feel those feelings and it's time to like get the help that you need
Yeah.
for like deeper things, you know. But
Yeah. Getting help, I'm sure we've mentioned this, but getting help is so good and so okay. Like asking for help, seeking further help, medical help, like
mhm.
expertise help, going to
Even just
therapy, going to
emotional
counseling,
support help too.
literally anything. Like if
Yeah.
you're not okay or you don't feel okay, it is so, so, so important and necessary to ask for help when you need it. Like I went to therapy and counseling for years, and I'm like a huge proponent of that. It helped me so much in my life, and it still helps me today. And I feel like I wouldn't be as good of a person now if I didn't go through that. I had like a really tough high school experience. I did drugs, but also I was really bullied. And there definitely were people around me that were just like, it'll get better. Like that's the thing I always heard was it'll get better. It's just high school, it'll get better. But I was so deep like into this terrible state of mind that it was not going to get better. Like even if I got out of high school, I would probably still feel that way. I really did need something else, and I needed to address those feelings because I did try and push through it for like at
Mm-hmm.
least a year. I was like, yeah, it is going to be fine. It'll be fine. Like I'll get to sophomore year of high school and then maybe things won't be as bad. And like it was just worse. Like you push back those emotions and then you don't address them and then they just build up. I think that's another thing is like when you ignore something for so long, it just builds
Mm-hmm.
up and then it's almost like when's the explosion going to happen?
Yeah, that's a big thing from toxic positivity is like it trains people to just suppress like their feelings and that's okay to just like push things to the side, but then eventually like that all piles up and that's where we see like huge like detrimental
Yeah,
effects to
outbursts
your
and
mental
yeah,
health.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, something that comes to mind, I think, when we're thinking of ways that you can not be toxically positive
Mhm.
is validation.
Mhm.
So, we want to always validate feelings of people, friends, family members, kids,
Mhm.
adults, whoever. And that's something that if you feel like maybe you oftentimes, or even just some of the times, respond with one of those like toxic positive phrases, like the it'll be okay, it'll get better, like
Mhm.
those things, instead of responding with a phrase like that, respond with a phrase of like, how does that make you feel? Or
Mhm. Mhm.
what do you think that you're going to do about this? Or how can I help you with this situation?
Yeah, yeah.
Phrases like that.
Yeah, this also it also I think it's so important with kids.
It
Like
is.
in my schooling, even though I'm studying to be a high school teacher,
Yeah.
I also have to learn like more youth
Right, right.
friendly things. And in that, we've learned how to deal with like not disciplining. That's not the right word, but dealing with issue when a kid is having an issue kind
Yeah.
of thing. And we're relearning our language
Mhm.
in school, which is really nice. And we're taught to say things like, not instead of saying like, why did you do that, well, like, we know why the kid did that. He
Right.
was angry,
Yeah, he's
so,
having a
and
feeling.
like, and maybe the kid doesn't understand that, so like instead we're taught to ask things like, what were you feeling when this happened, and we're learning how to talk kids through their feelings, which I think is super important because I don't even think adults know how to do that.
Yeah.
you
I
know
mean, yeah, I think that's why toxic positivity is even really a thing. I think it is learned behavior.
mhm.
It's learned behavior of just like you need to be okay or you need to get over it or be stronger than it or like man up, I would say is like
Yeah,
another
yeah.
toxic positivity thing. Like that's also like a masculinity, like we'll talk about that too later on, but I'll have a whole episode on that. But all of those feelings of just like get over whatever you're feeling or is it's so
Yeah.
invalidating. But to
Like learning to
teach that,
conform to society and how we
yeah,
should act in society, which is no one wants an angry, irrational, sad person.
right.
And so we
And when
think
you
that we
teach
have to
that
suppress
young,
them. Yeah.
you teach them that they cannot feel those things.
Hmm.
Not just that they can't act out on the behavior, but also that they can't even feel what led them to the behavior.
Yeah.
And that's wrong because you absolutely should feel angry. You should feel sad. You should feel frustrated, annoyed, like whatever. You should be able to feel it. I mean,
Hmm.
yes, the action that you take can be like reined in,
Hmm.
or taught to be different or helped or just like, I don't know, less offensive. But the feeling is necessary
Yeah.
to feel.
Hmm.
And I love that like people are teaching kids that now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember if I got taught that or not. I
No,
don't think I
totally not.
Yeah, I don't think that maybe my mom, like I feel like my mom was always really good about asking my sister and I about how we were feeling at certain times and if we were upset or crying. My mom, I know she was great at this because I see her do it with kids today now. Like one of my really good friends has a 4-year-old and like he'll be over here. One time we took him to a museum to like play around for the day, just me and my mom, and he was like kind of not being mean, but he was like not letting this kid slide down the slide that he wanted to slide down. And then we were like, oh, you can't act like that. Don't do that. That's mean. And then he slid down, and my mom was like, hey, like, why don't you want her to slide down that one? Like, what are you feeling right now? Like, why are you being mean to her?
Hmm.
And then he kind of had to think about it. Like, why can't she slide down that slide? I don't own the slide, like, and that's a very small thing, but you're addressing the child as an adult and you're letting them have those feelings and you're making them tell you what the feeling is. I think that
Hmm.
that's a big thing is because a lot of times kids don't know how to articulate what they're feeling.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So then when you ask them questions like that, they're like, "Oh,
Hmm.
wait, what am I feeling?" Like,
One of my favorite. So I had to use this on a third grader, and I'm a substitute right now, so it was a kid I've never met before, and the class was a hard day for me. But this kid, I asked him to clean up because I had to take the whole class to the library, right? But this kid didn't want to clean up, so he proceeded to throw markers. He threw a marker at me. He threw a
oh
marker
my
at
god.
another kid. There were markers all over the room, like his papers were everywhere. And I was just, my instinct was to yell at him and
Of
be like, "Why are you
course.
doing this? Like,
Like,
stop!"
stop. Yeah.
But I took a breath because I was like, "Okay, well, that's obviously not. It's not working." So I left it alone, and then I just started to leave, and the class started to leave. And he quietly, like, finally got up. And then once we got to the library is when I pulled him aside and I asked him, like, what was going on? Like, why do you think that you're in trouble right now? Because he came up to me originally and was like,
Yeah.
why am I in trouble? And I was like, why do you think you're in trouble? And he was like, because I wouldn't clean up and I threw the markers. And I was like, oh, well, what were you feeling when you felt these markers? Like, why did you throw them? And he was like, I was angry because I thought that I might not get to, it was Valentine's Day that day. He was like,
Oh,
I might not get to go to the Valentine's Day party at class or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, like, why do you think that would happen? And we talked through it. And I was like, oh, well, why did we feel this way? And he was angry. And then the conversation went all the way down to like, he yelled at me because his dad yells at him at home.
oh my
Like, and
gosh.
this is a kid I've never met before,
Yeah.
but because I was able to talk him through his feelings, he just
Wow.
opened up, and I just saw
That's
that change before my eyes,
wild.
and I was like, "Holy shit! Like that book was right. Like
Yeah.
the book that my school made me read was like
Oh my
spot on."
god.
And I was like, "It's crazy. Like kids are just so willing to be open and understand their feelings. We just have to provide
A
the
space.
resources,
Yeah.
yeah, for them."
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about toxic positivity, like in person or like people's responses to things with your friends, families, whatever, children. But there's another um, pretty common type of toxic positivity that we like ingest every day on social media, which I think is also really important to address. So, toxic positivity on social media isn't necessarily people on your social media telling you to be positive. It's like the image of them being positive all the time.
Mm-hmm.
No one's life is perfect.
Yeah, like the Instagram versus reality kind
Yes,
of thing.
yes. But we follow all these influencers because we like them. And like even really great positive influencers, you know? Like I have a couple people that I really enjoy, but and sometimes they're transparent, but most of the time they're happy. You know, you never really see them upset. You never really see them go through hard times, or if they do, they have a very like well thought out presented statement of their hard time. It's not like their raw feelings or emotions. You don't ever see them looking bad. Like, and that's also toxically positive, you know? Like you are not like ready to go in full face, hair done, makeup done during a pandemic all the time, you know? Like
Yeah.
especially right now we're seeing it so much. It's like I just saw I follow what's her name? Like Kylie Jenner's friend Anastasia on Instagram and she and Sophia Richie and like all those girls
Okay.
that she's in the group with. Okay, and so Sophia Richie just turned 22
Okay.
and so they like flew to like fucking Turks or some beautiful like tropical island on their private jet and they're all partying and dancing and I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that. And then my second thought was like, I'd never get on a fucking plane right now. It's COVID still. And I'm just like, geez, they're like literally out here living their best life, partying, acting like it's totally fine. No one has a mask on, nothing. But it's like this illusion that everything's good,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not. It's not. We still have a pandemic. You still shouldn't travel. It's still dangerous. Like all these things,
Yeah.
you know, but that's how they are all the time, regardless of a pandemic or not. It's like, you know, they're,
Yeah. It's the idea of, they're you don't see people's real life
yeah,
and emotions on social media. I mean, like
they're
maybe
perfect.
the Kardashians, that is their real life because they have the money to do that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the point is, like, the average person, we're able to put things on social media like, oh, this here's me looking cute and
yeah.
I'm
You
at
put what you
dinner and
want
it's
to
nice. Yeah.
give off.
You only put what you want people to see
Right.
on there.
Right. So we, as people that are on social media, have to remind ourselves as we're scrolling that, you know, life isn't always good. And all these people, although they're not posting videos of them crying, they do cry, you know, and like,
Yeah,
although
yeah.
they're not looking like shit on all their Instagram posts, like, nobody wakes up and looks stunning. So, except for
Yeah.
Beyonce. But, you know, I mean, another thing that we would like to address is pregnancy or like being a mom. I see a lot of like mommy bloggers or just like any like social media influencer who got pregnant and they're like so cute with their little belly bumps and like whatever, like looking great all the time, out to dinner, out to lunch, at the beach, and they're like sun tanning and they're just have their makeup on and like I don't know if you guys have spent time with pregnant people, but like it's not like that. It is not like that. Most of it is, first of all, it's fucking hard. Like you're gaining weight, you're carrying a living ass creature inside of you. You're sick, you can't eat, you don't like how certain things taste. All of your senses are heightened.
Yeah.
Your
Your
feet are swollen, your
hormones are
boobs are swollen, your
changing.
back hurts, you're carrying all this weight. Yeah, your body's growing. It's like all these things are happening and it's like it's hard and it sucks. Like it's beautiful, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
So that is also like an unrealistic goal or view that people put out there on social media. And so you see that and you can't help but feel like, why am I not able to do those things? Or why am I not like that? And that's also toxically positive, is like,
Yeah.
you need to show I think, especially like people that have mom blogs, you know, it's like, show both.
Well, there are people,
There
I
are
will say,
some.
that are kind of changing that, like
Yeah.
changing the curve on that.
Yeah.
People are trying to be more authentic, I think,
Hmm.
in the new age. I don't know what the new age is, but
Um, Ashley Tisdale is like one of my favorite influencers, and
yeah,
she just launched something called Friendshie,
I saw that. Is
F
that how
R
you
E
say
N
it?
S H E, I think so.
Okay.
And it's all about like wellness and mental health. And she has like experts that contribute to her thing, but it's like also about her journey and her experiences. And another person that does that is Jillian Rose Reed, who was on Awkward. She was like the best friend on the show Awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's super transparent about her mental health and her struggles and also her positives. Like all of her ups are documented, but also all of her downs are documented. And I think it's really cool the influencers that are doing that because they're giving you a realistic view of life and of who they are and like that's also important.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I don't feel like everybody needs to share all their negatives all the time
Oh
either,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Some things you
but
want
I
to
think
keep
it's
to
just something to
yourself.
be mindful of is like
Yeah.
as people scrolling on social media. I'm not trying to tell anybody what they can and cannot post, but as the person looking at it, just know that
Yeah,
that can be
I've
toxic positivity
yeah,
too.
I've read lots of things and follow like people, and a big conversation is clearing out your social medias of
Mm-hmm.
things that aren't helpful for you. Basically, like
Mm-hmm.
going out and clearing out the people that make you feel lesser than,
Yeah.
basically, and trying to like fill your feed with not like positivity, but like more authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that
I like
right.
that. Yeah, that's good. I mean, there's a lot of influencers out there that are really putting in work to like
hmm
be fully who they are and share a lot more of their lives with you and not look so perfect and done up all the time. And I think that that's really cool.
So earlier we talked about validation as a way of combating toxic positivity.
Yeah, like how we, if we're being toxically positive,
hmm
can combat it. We can
Yeah, yeah,
validate
yeah.
people more.
And so earlier, when I was reading up on all this, I came across this Washington Post article that was linked in a different article about toxic positivity.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is by Linda Ryden. The thing, the like title is a little off. It says, teaching our kids and ourselves mindfulness to get us through the coronavirus anxiety. So it was a little super specific. But it was mentioned in the toxic positivity article because it talks about like the importance of mindfulness, and not only teaching it to our kids, but how we should be practicing it ourselves. And it focuses on how we think of mindfulness as being able to clear your mind,
Yeah.
but in actuality it's the opposite. It should be this idea of thinking about thinking. It's called metacognition,
Hmm.
is what they call it. But it just gives you some tips, I guess, that we
Yeah.
can practice. And one is breathing,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Yeah.
Breath work is huge. And there's different kinds of breath work. There's ones that where it's like crazy looking to some people,
Yes. Yes.
but for this, it's more of being able to sit down and like close your eyes and just being able to take breaths to slow down your thinking. And that's kind of like the first step of
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness before you go into they call it on here see, hear, feel.
Okay.
Kind of like basic. I think it's broken down for kids, but
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't know, and that's where we think about more deeply what we're feeling.
Yeah.
That's the where it's like thinking about thinking kind of comes in. And it's where you start to notice your surroundings, and you literally think to myself like, what do I see right now, depending on
Mm-hmm.
what your situation is. What am I hearing and what am I feeling? Um, and this is where the heartfulness comes in, is what they call it. And it's where you ask yourself, why, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling like this? And then they say to kind of like take a moment to love yourself almost. It's really cute.
That's
So
nice.
it's like I can feel this way, and then one day I will feel this way again.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's really great to combat the toxic positivity with.
hmm
Like that's more talking about when you have so much toxic positivity in your life, whether it's you giving it to yourself or other people giving it to you or a combination of both.
hmm
That practice and those tips are like allowing you to sit with your feelings, like we were talking about before.
hmm
And that's really, really important. But then I love the end one. Like, let yourself feel how you're feeling. You're
hmm
giving yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling and letting yourself know that that's okay. But
hmm
then also addressing that you didn't always feel this way.
hmm
And so you can overcome it and you can
Yeah.
get through it. And that's a very non toxic, positive way
Yeah, yeah.
to
It's
overcome.
a new. They're trying to introduce a new way of, instead of saying, "Oh, it's gonna be fine," you're saying, "This is how I'm feeling, and that's okay. And one day I will feel the way I want to feel again."
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's just acknowledging that the situation that you are in, you haven't always been in. And you've
hmm
been in plenty of other situations as well. And a lot of
hmm
them have also been hard, but a lot of them have been great. And there's a good combination of both in the world. We absolutely need both in our world. And I love that.
Yeah,
That's real nice.
yeah. It's
Well,
nice.
this has been like such an uplifting episode, I feel like, to talk about, even though it started off kind of like as a negative topic, maybe.
Well, yeah, I think we always like to end on a positive note.
Yeah,
It's kind of our goal.
Yeah, that is our goal.
Yeah. But yeah,
we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we've been loving all the episodes that we've been making recently.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Our last episode was good.
Yeah.
This episode was good.
Pretty rad.
Our next episode's gonna be good.
We don't know what
We
it's
don't know what
about
it's gonna
yet,
be,
but
I can feel it.
it'll be great. Hopefully, we can start talking about The Bachelor sometime soon, like on our episodes too, if it ever decides to be aired on TV.
I think. Well, Claire's done.
Yeah.
Tayshia's coming up.
She like found her guy, right?
Yeah, in like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, Claire.
Whatever. I guess that's what happens when you're 40 and on The Bachelor. I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
So I'm hyped for Tayshia.
I know, yeah.
I'm
she wasn't your favorite when she was on Colton season.
She wasn't, but on Paradise I liked her.
Oh, okay, that's true.
She did good on Paradise.
I liked Tayshia.
I didn't like her on Colton season. Real. She was just very intense for me on Colton season, and then like her contrast was like Cassie and Kaylin or whatever.
Yeah, we loved.
And they were both really chill. So then, in contrast to Tayshia, was like very. I felt like ready, prepared.
Not our vibe.
Like
just not our vibe. But she seems like a cool chick.
But you know what? Cassie and Colton didn't work out, so maybe that was the right vibe, and he just didn't know. Also, there was Hannah G. You know, like it was those girls and Hannah G.
But her and Dylan were meant to be together. They're so cute.
Their relationship goals.
Aww.
I feel like me and Josh would be Hannah and Dylan if like he dressed better.
Really? Because I feel like you're more Kaylin and Dean in a van with
your dog.
Oh, we're
so Kaylin and Dean. Yeah, okay. Cut that out.
Yeah, just kidding.
We're way more Kaylin and Dean.
I guess I was Colton and Cassie because they broke up.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyways.
R.I.P. to your love life.
Anyways, we hope you like this episode and our end Bachelor tea moment. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, comment.
Yeah. Let us know if you want us to talk about anything else, if you're liking these episodes that are all like deep, feely episodes, or if you're not really into it.
Yeah, talk to us.
Yeah.
We like talking to you. And no one
really
talks to us.
Yeah, please talk to us. What the heck?
What the heck?
We would love your input.
Like,
we really care.
Hello, is anyone out there?
Is anybody here? Is anyone listening?
Oh, man.
Anywho,
we love ya.
We're getting good.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Did I fucking hit it? Yeah.
What?
I said, did I hit it? Oh, that's loud.
Tastes like a fucking White Claw.
What?
Why?